Dr. Greg Pat, physical therapist, back here again from PT Made Simple. And today what I want to talk about is exercises for the legs that you can perform while you're sitting in a chair. These are going to be best for the elderly or people that have been bedbound for a long period of time or very deconditioned for one reason or another. So these exercises I like to do, you can do them one time all the way through. You can work yourself up to 3 times all the way through. I like to do between 10 and 15 repetitions of each of the exercises. So I like to start kind of from the ground up and target all the major muscle groups of the legs. So the first one I like to start with is just going up on your toes and down. Feel like you're driving the balls of your feet into the floor, raising your heels up as high as you can. And when you do this, you want to make sure your feet aren't too far out in front of you. You want to make sure you're kind of right at this good 90 degrees, really driving those heels straight up towards the ceiling. So again, work yourself up. Start with 10 reps, work yourself up to 15. So those are called heel raises. The next one, similar position, called toe raises. Trying to raise your toes up. This one, the foot's not going to move as much. Don't be alarmed about that. And sometimes you may even not get the top of the foot off the floor. But you're going to be using the muscle in the front of the shin here. So people, when you're walking and you catch your toe a lot, you may have a drop foot, you may have weakness in that muscle. Very important exercise to do, help decrease your risk of falls. Same thing, 10 to 15 reps, depending on how you're doing. So once we finish those, we'll work up. So those are kind of the muscles, front of the shins, in your calves. Now what we're going to do is kind of work on the muscles in the thighs. So what I like to do is just kind of a leg kick straight out. Straighten it out all the way. Come down slow. Pause at the top. Come down slow. I like to do these leg kicks on both sides. And this will help strengthen the quadriceps muscle, which will help your ability to get up out of a chair, go up and down stairs, squatting. Very important to work on. That would be the leg extensions. Next, what we would do is to work on the hamstrings. You want to, we'll focus on the right leg here, and bend it back underneath the chair. So I would say pretend you have like a $100 bill on the floor, your foot, and you're trying to slide it back underneath. Slide it back. And you feel the bottom of your leg, your hamstring muscle is working. So call this knee flexion, knee bend, but same thing. Start with 10, work yourself up to 15, and you can go through all of them 2-3 times. Good, working both sides, always important. Bend that knee backwards, strengthen up your hamstrings. Alright, so that will kind of get quadriceps and the hamstrings. So far we've got the muscles in the front of the shins, the muscles in the calves, muscles in the top of the thighs, muscles in the back of the thighs. Now working up towards the hip. What we want to do, we want to do what I call a seated march. So this one I like to alternate. So you're up nice and tall, keeping your stomach tight, and you're just trying to march. Get that knee up. Again, 10 to 15 on each side. This is going to strengthen your hip flexors right in the front of your hip. So getting the leg into bed, getting into a car, going upstairs, anything you need to kind of lift that leg up, your hip flexors are going to be very important for that. So once you work on those, that's kind of seated march, hip flexion. Then we're going to want to work the outside of the hip and the groin muscles. So we're going to bring the leg out and we're going to bring it in. Leg out, leg in. Leg out, leg in. Make sure you're doing both sides. Again, 10 to 15 of each of these. These muscles are called when you're bringing the leg out, it's called your abduction. And when you bring the leg in, it's called a deduction. So think when you're bringing the leg out, abduction, like something is abducted, it's taken away. So abduction and then adduction, add things together, they come together. So abduction, adduction. And 10 to 15 on each side. Then a couple other ones I like to add in are more what we call an isometric exercise, or what you would do still to strengthen more your abductors here. You can kind of have your hands on the side of your knees, and you're just going to try to push your knees out. So trying to push, give yourself resistance through your hands, hold a couple seconds, push out again. Again, 10 to 15 of these. Again, still technically strengthening your abductors. That, and then on the other side, what you can do is you can have your hands on the inside and trying to squeeze your knees together, but provide some resistance through your hands. So a lot of times what I like to do is take a small ball or a small pillow, put it between your knees, have you squeeze, hold a couple seconds, and then doing 10 to 15 of these. Good. And again, you can provide as much or as little resistance as you want, as long as it doesn't bother your shoulders. If it does, especially with this one, just grab a ball or a pillow between. If pushing out bothers the shoulders, you can just take a belt, something hold it nice and tight, and press out into the belt. So that one, and the last one I like to do are what we call clamshells. So kind of feet together, you're going to bring the legs out to the side and back in. This is also going to target the hip. It's going to get a couple different muscle groups. It'll get some of your rotator, your hip rotator muscles, and also some of your abductor muscles as well. So 15, like this. And all these exercises are great to do sitting. No equipment really needed unless you want to use a belt or a ball for that other one I was saying. Very safe to do, and they're going to help strengthen your legs, and eventually you can be able to transition to standing exercises that you can do. So 10 to 15 of these, depending on how you're feeling. And again, these are the called clamshells. So in summary, to kind of go through those again, we have your heel raises or your calf raises. We have your toe raises. We have your leg extensions. We have your leg curls. We have your marching. We have your kicks to the side and back in, or your hip abduction and adduction. We have pushing into your hands, pushing out into your hands. We have squeezing in against your hands. And then we have the clamshells. And then a little bonus one, sometimes I like to add in there. So you have to hold on to the side. I call it like a flutter kick. So you're just trying to kick your legs up and down. A little bit harder than the other ones, but if you want to try that, call that a flutter kick. So try those exercises. Again, start with reps of 10 to 15. Start with one set. Try to work your way up to 3 sets. If you can do that pretty easily, what I recommend at that point will be getting yourself some ankle weights, starting with 1 pound, and then working your way up. You can get a package of ankle weights The ones I like, they can go like 0 to 5 pounds. So they're just little bars that you add in. You can adjust the weight as you go. So instead of buying like a 1 pound and needing to go like 2 pound, just buy that. They're adjustable. You can go up to 5 pounds. You probably wouldn't need more than 5 pounds for this anyway. So try to get yourself those, and you can start to add ankle weights and then go through these exercises, and that will make it much harder. So tune into the next video. I'm going to talk about exercises you can do for your upper body while you're sitting in